and they felt that that had kind of made them feel that they were a real member of the group.
Well, each corp has its own little ways of doing things.
Hmm.
Our corp is you join, you're a member. That's the way it is.
How difficult is it to join your corporation?
Depends. It depends what you call hard. If you have vouchers, and those vouchers are willing to vouch for you, then yeah.
Hmm. Well, are there requirements for, say, fitting standards, that kind of thing? Experience of the game?
Of course. But it all has to do with your vouchers at the start. Your vouchers will not vouch for someone they don't believe will fit in.
Hmm. Okay. So let's talk about why you play now. Why do you log on a day-to-day basis?
Don't know really. I just do.
I mean, is there?
Because of my friends. I log on because I enjoy spending time with my friends.
Hmm. Okay. Well, what about?
There's no real driving feeling. I mean, I'm getting fights. I love fights. I love shooting other people in spaceships.
Hmm. What about in the long term?
What do you mean long term?
Well, do you have a wider sense of the direction that you're heading in?
Wherever my steer decides.
Okay. Tell me about a recent event that you think shows the best side of your group.
A recent event. Are we talking IT or are we talking BNC?
Either one's fine. Something that represents, it happened to you and you felt great about it. It really a great side of your group.
I kicked 40 inactive members.
40 inactive members.
Yep.
Okay. Let's move on to the game itself. Now, I understand that you've got the IT barbecue, things like that. Is a strong out-of-game backbone, for example, forums, playing other games, that kind of thing, is it vital to forming a large, successful group?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Hmm. Do you have any other activities that your members take part in?
We play other games together. We fuck around on IRC. We screw around on forums, at the barbecue, everything.
What kind of other games do you play?
First-person shoot-ups, other MMOs. Yeah.
Okay, so you don't just focus on Eve purely. If someone says that they're playing something else, it's not a problem. Okay. Do you think that CCP has been making a strong effort to improve the game?
My friends would ask me to say yes.
Okay.
I'm kind of impartial, I guess.
Yeah?
I think I keep playing it, so they must be doing something right.
Right. What's been the best recent decision on their behalf that has affected the game?
The best decision.
Yeah, it's something recently been changed about the game, so even just the artwork or certain rules changes, that kind of thing that you think is a really good idea.
I don't know, the Titan buff and the Mothership buff was nice.
Okay. And the worst?
The removal of the Sinographic.
Okay. I think quite a lot of people would agree with you there. Apparently there's been a new artist has been hired to improve the sonographics.
Cool.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting stuff. Okay, do you have any wild suggestions to revitalize the game? For example, Dust is allegedly going to be locked into the game and it will affect it in some way. I mean, that's a pretty wild idea. Do you have anything like that you might?
That is relevant as the release of Diablo 3, the release of StarCraft 2, and StarCraft 2, and the release of Walking in Stations. It'll happen when it happens.
Okay. But you don't have...
Getting,
Yeah?
so I mean, I'm pretty much impartial. I've played the game long enough to realize that, yeah, things happen when they happen.
Okay.
Take it as it comes.
Let's go on to metagaming. Is metagaming a positive or negative for game designers?
What do you classify as metagaming?
Well, any kind of application of real-world knowledge outside of the rules and the storyline of the game. So, for example...
Elaborate a lot more on that.
Pardon?
You'll need to elaborate a lot more on that because metagaming has such a wide feeling to it.
Okay. Well, for you, obviously your corporation and your alliance have always been under a great deal of metagaming scrutiny. There's always you as in all sorts of large alliance corporations would have to concern themselves with hacking, security, accounts, loss of information over unsecure, say for example, vent servers and that kind of thing. Do you think that's a reasonable part of the game, or would you prefer to remove it?
I don't believe it's needed, really. I mean, it's a game. Why would you put more effort into a game than it's needed?
That's a good statement, but at the same time, unfortunately, you can't afford to not use it.
Yeah, of course. I mean, you can say that you cannot afford to not use it and use it, but I personally do not use it, and I do not affiliate myself with anyone that I know uses it.
Okay. Is that a common perspective within your corporation?
Yep. As a director, anyone seen to be metagaming is forcibly removed.
Okay. And what about your alliance as a whole?
Each corp to their own. I believe the alliance rule is no metagaming, but it is up to each person's corp to enforce that.
Okay. And what about, there's always a lot of talk on the forums about propaganda and spin. And, your society, as much as the other alliances and so on, are always often accused of creating spin and propaganda for their own purposes. Is that really fair? Do you really have people who are generating spin and propaganda for the benefit of your group?
I'm sure there's actually people that do it, but I don't hire anyone to do it. Makes for good reading if they do, but I don't hire anyone for any reason to spin anything. If anyone asks me a question, I'll answer it honestly. If I don't want to answer the question, I don't answer it.
Okay.
There's no need for me to spin it.
So I'm just highlighting that because I do know that a lot of people might claim that your group do that as other groups do. So it's interesting to have you say
it makes
that.
For great reading. It makes me myself feel intelligent when I read lots of drivel on the forums.
Do you think it's possible to allow any kind of metagaming by design without infringing on your personal security?
As I have said, metagaming has such a wide branch to it. So saying that can mean so many totally different things. So
Okay.
unless you can really explain fully what you mean, I can't answer the question.
Okay, well, for example, do you agree with the idea of forum? Okay, let's go wider than that. Do you agree with the use of spies?
Yes, of course. Why not? It's fun.
Okay. Now those spies that join another group, they might have access to forums, the forums of that other group. Is it reasonable for them to have access to those forums?
If they're a member of that alliance, then why not?
So CCP says that it is reasonable to have spies, and it also says that it's reasonable to have, say, people who can carry out fraud or theft or within corporations. Now that is a kind of metagaming in a way, because it's something that requires the use of, say, forums and other communications that exist outside the game and don't only operate within the game. If we were to talk about removing as many outside sources of information as possible, we might limit ourselves to only using, say, EveSpeak and EveChat and EveMail to gain information, and using forums outside of it.
The client will crash.
Okay.
You cannot do that because the client will crash. The client that CCP has created has not made it possible to do that. Metagaming has such a broad spectrum to it. You can call spies in metagaming, but some people would not believe that spies have anything to do with metagaming. People would also beg to differ and beg to debate that metagaming is hacking. I don't know where I stand on the whole idea of what metagaming is. It has so many different meanings and so many different ideas to it.
Okay. Well, is there... I understand that there's been a lot of there have been a lot of events occurring recently for your corporation and your alliance. Do you have any comment on that at the moment?
You would have to be more specific.
Well, there's been a lot of rumours at the moment that there's internal discussions at the moment about the direction of your alliance.
The direction of the alliance is not about me.
Mm-hmm.
I follow the direction of my corp and I follow my CEO.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about before we wrap up?
Not that I can think of. Is there anything else you would like to talk about?
I think we've covered everything. Once again, I'd like to thank you, Sort Dragon, for talking to me about why it is that you play and your opinions on different parts of the game. I'd like to thank you on behalf of the Kogutsuman forums, and I hope we can talk again in the future.